dim down the night, cause I can into things that I'm gon' do. Wow, wow, wow.
Yo, what's happening, man? Y'all already know what it is. It's Twice Talk, and we are listeners supported by 91.5 The Rebel, HD2, Las Vegas, the broadcast service of UNLV. And of course, you know I'm accompanied by the beautiful Oak. How you doing today?
I'm good.
Wait, what? You good?
I'm good.
You know, we don't got no elaboration. We don't got no story about the weed.
I'm great. I'm good.
Oh, if you guys didn't notice today, because since Oak wants to be a little difficult today, so we're going to have to loosen her up. But if you didn't know, we got DJ DMiles in the building. Man, this guy is notorious all around the world, man. He moving back and forth. We're going to get a little into what he does and how he feels about how he's doing.
Yes.
So, DJ DMiles, how you doing today, man?
I'm blessed, brother.
Man, that's
I feel good, man.
Blessed.
Yeah.
That's what I like to hear, man. So, what you learned this week, man? You got any nuggets this week that you could just drop out the
Man,
cannon for
I
us?
just really been following the news, and I mean, I'm a big football fan, so I'm looking forward to tonight. Kick off of the season.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, it's a lot happening, man, and I just, I'm glad you got me here so I can voice a couple of opinions.
Man, that's why we want you to let everybody know.
Yeah.
What did you see on the news? What kind of caught your interest?
Honestly, the big story that I've been following is the whole Michael Bennett situation, the Ezekiel Elliott situation, just the NFLPA and how they handle their players and how they don't handle their players and the disconnect between them and the commissioner. It's just a lot, man. And I surround myself with a lot of sports material, so to me, it's just eye-opening to see how they treat us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So for the listeners that don't know about the Michael Bennett situation, could you explain it to us a little bit? What's going on?
Yeah, pretty much when he was here for the Mayweather-McGregor fight, there was a situation that happened outside of the Cromwell, and I believe he was one of the accusers for no reason. Pretty much he was an accuser, and he felt that the police handled him brutally.
Yeah.
And with excessive force, and he wrote about it in a very, very passionate couple of paragraphs. He spoke about it, and I feel like if you read the paragraph, you couldn't take anything but good, because he's not a violent guy. He's a very peaceful, very passionate guy, and he just wants equality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And with equality, obviously, some people get rubbed the wrong way, and he called out the LVPD. He called them out, man. He said that they need to look into the situation, and they need to figure out that they need to take action, pretty much. He called out the commissioner of the LVPD.
Yeah.
And I think the commissioner released a statement, but I didn't get a chance to read his statement.
So
They had I think they released his public statement on the news.
Mm-hmm.
When did you get wind of that story? That was like...
I think that was, it's been, 2 weeks since the fight? I think I first got wind of it maybe on Sunday.
Oh, yeah?
Sunday?
Yeah, Saturday or Sunday this past week.
Yeah, they've been keeping it under wraps.
Yeah, and I was curious as to why he kept it under wraps for a whole week as well, but I feel like...
He probably had to get all of his ducks in a row and,
And
make sure he was lawyered up.
Yeah, he probably spoke from a perspective not as emotional, which is probably a good thing, because it probably would have came out kind of ugly had he spoke about it the day after.
Or he would have probably feeling some type of way.
Yeah, so he probably got a chance to just kind of breathe.
Another reason why I believe is because the whole Kaepernick situation and how the NFL is viewed upon people or not oppressing, but trying to fight for your rights, I should say.
Yeah.
And how they view about those black rights. If he were to come out and say something vulgar or something that was out of character or emotionally charged, what was going to happen? He's probably the next one to lose his check.
Yeah.
So that's probably why he waited like
that.
And
I think the advantage that he has now is that he's actually been a victim of something. Whereas to Kaepernick, he was more so a third party looking on the outside in, looking at other situations and what they have to go through. Now Michael Bennett has a story of his own.
Yeah.
That's a little more powerful when you have your own story to tell and people can relate to that story, you know what I mean, while he's hitting the platform that he has.
So what kind of action would you take if you were trying to remedy this situation?
Man, I have no idea. I would probably take the same road he's taken, which is just putting out like educated statements to help people think and help people converse, because if you don't have that, you're just going to be in a circle, like fighting the same battle over and over again. You're not going to get anywhere. But he's opening eyes, and he's just shedding light to situations that people are afraid to talk about. And I appreciate him for it.
Most definitely.
He's doing it in a way that where even if you're not black, you can still understand and vibe with what he's saying.
How do you feel about those that don't understand what they're saying, what he's saying, or don't feel what he's saying when they're not black?
I think it comes down to a situation where your background and your makeup help shape how you think and how you feel. And
so you're saying it's how that raised?
Yeah, like I can't sit here and look at like the Native Americans and say that you shouldn't feel the way you feel. Like, get over it. Get over the fact that your land was taken.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what they went through.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? I can't look at like Jews or like people that were in the Holocaust and say, get over it. It's been however long. No, I don't have that right. All I can do.
And that's what people constantly say too. These issues that black athletes, amongst other activists, constantly try to shed light on.
Yeah, it's like unless your people or your generations were a part of it, you really don't understand the effects it has on your people. Yeah. And so I support anyone to have an opinion, but when that opinion becomes negative in the sense of you shouldn't feel the way you feel, I think that that's just not fair. That's wrong. Like, you don't have that place.
Do you think that because this happened to Michael Bennett and he is a prominent athlete in the NFL, do you think that these commentators and the NFL alone as a franchise will take Kaepernick's stand more seriously?
I think so, because I think they looked at Kaepernick. He was like that guy that out of nowhere started speaking on something that was sensitive. Mm-hmm. And he's speaking on behalf of a league that's 85% black. So those players understand, but they're also fearful of their jobs. So they have to be very careful of how they maneuver. Yes. But with Roger Goodell having their back, so to speak, now, and speaking on Michael Bennett's behalf, saying that he supports him and that the NFL is doing what they can to make sure that that situation is handled, it gives the players confidence to come forward and speak as well. Yeah. This is like you don't want to speak without having a blessing of your employer, because it's like almost like shit. Like
NFL is.
Can you elaborate on that? You don't want to speak while not having a blessing? I don't understand that.
In the sense of, like, I feel like Kaepernick was the like sacrificial limb. He did it on his own terms, and permission, nor does he need it. Maybe the permission wasn't the correct word, but it's like you want to have support.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
And he didn't have support from anyone, not his organization, not the league, not the NFLPA. Now, when you have Roger Goodell come out and say something, when you have the NFLPA come out, team owners come out, the players feel supported. And then that's why you can have Michael Bennett come out and say something, because the Seahawks support him. Yeah. And he feels comfortable within his position that he's not going to lose his job over it because of that. And then you have like Aaron Rodgers coming out. You have other players that aren't black supporting it, because now that they have a little bit more of an understanding of what the climate is of the situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was watching Undisputed the other day. You like that show a lot, huh?
That's cool.
It's cool. You real mellow today. What's going on?
What? I'm saying it's cool.
It gotta be that.
It's not the weather.
So Undisputed, and it's a show with Skip and Shannon. Shannon Sharp, Skip Bayless. So Shannon Sharp made a statement, and the statement was referring to Colin Kaepernick and J.J. Watt. Because, you know, J.J. Watt just raised $20 million for
Hurricane
Harvey that just passed. But, and that was for the cost, or not the cost, the, survival and the people that were, left through the outrage. But, we can get $20 million in 2 weeks from J.J. Watt and his foundation, and he got no scrutiny. Actually, he's getting a lot of praise for it, actually. Yet, Kaepernick is getting $1 million of his own money to these charities, and he's getting crucified for it.
Yeah.
Right.
How do you feel about this? Is there like will that help his cause from that being?
I think it's a situation where like
highlighted?
I think there's each issue is a human rights issue. Like blacks, minorities in general being oppressed is a human rights issue. Dealing with natural disasters and how it affects communities is as well. But I almost feel like a natural disaster is a situation where people look at it as it's something that's completely out of their hands, and that it deserves more attention almost than what the Kaepernick situation is, because it's a situation where it not only affects minorities,
Yeah, it affects everybody.
It affects everyone. Anyone that's living in the Houston, Texas area, the Texas area in general, it affects them.
Yes.
So it's like almost like it's an example of, okay, Kaepernick speaking for minorities, he's speaking for blacks. It gets somewhat attention, but when it's a situation where everyone's affected or when every race is affected,
and then more
they rally around it more. Kind of like with 9/11. With the Boston with the bombing. Yeah, like when it's not just when you can feel it from your end and from your people, more people tend to get involved. But people tend to be afraid to get involved with Kaepernick because it's singling out one minority group, and good or bad, it makes people feel a way or maybe look a certain way and how they might look amongst their peers.
It's because it checks racism.
Yeah,
that's why people are challenging Kaepernick's credibility or his blackness or his upbringing. It's easier to check that because it's checking racism, whereas a hurricane is everybody. Yeah. It doesn't make people become polarized, whereas Kaepernick's situation does. And Shannon was saying that, if sports isn't about being political and it's not about being an activist and it's not about advocacy, why isn't J.J. Watt being criticized? And it's because he's not checking racism.
This all-day event is intended to celebrate, educate, and rejuvenate men of color at UNLV. For more information, call 702-895-1401. The College of Liberal Arts University Forum presents lecture series, Open City, Negotiating Memories at Las Vegas' Mob Museum. This event begins at 7 p.m. on Friday at the Barrick Museum of Art. For more information, call 702-895-3402. For a complete list of all of the 60th anniversary events, visit unlv.edu/60.
Support for KUNV comes from GenderFest. GenderFest is a symposium and conference for the Las Vegas community, taking place September 14th through the 16th. It's for anyone who is transgender, has a transgender child, partner, or coworker, or anyone that just wants to be more informed. Workshops will focus on issues faced by the transgender community, their friends and family members, as well as human resource personnel. More information at thecenterlv.org/genderfest.
The Rebel is KUNV HD2 Las Vegas.
Growing up, when he got his license, the first thing his dad told him was, son, whenever you get pulled over by the cops, do exactly what they say.
Yeah.
Do exactly what they say. And then Greenberg chimed in. He was like, yo, that's crazy because my daughter just turned 16 and I gave her the keys to her car and I never feel like I had to say that to her.
Yeah, they don't even think about it. It
Yeah,
doesn't
I
cross
never
their
had
mind.
to say, sweetheart, when a cop pulls you over, do whatever they say to a white teenage girl. He can't comprehend how to feel that way and how to say that to his child because he doesn't have to.
I was watching this video and this officer pulls over this lady on the freeway. And this lady says, "Oh, I'm just gonna keep my hands right here. I don't want to get in trouble." He says, "Oh, don't worry, you're not black. We won't hurt you."
I saw that.
I said, "Oh."
I saw that.
I think his words were, "We only kill black people."
Yeah.
I think that's what his words
He
were.
kind of laughed it off. I was like, "But wait a minute, man."
I think he was being facetious.
Yeah. No, I think
and it's still being insensitive at the same time.
You can't be saying stuff like that, and you're a public servant.
It was
to the public.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was a terrible joke.
Yeah, even if he had the most innocent feeling towards it, and it was just a complete joke. It just what the timing and the climate of society it wasn't right. He shouldn't have been joking about that.
Yeah, the joke in itself.
Did you see that?
I think absolutely. I think the joke in itself speaks to something though, right? So the fact that to make a white woman comfortable with not being in danger, you make a joke about black people. Just the fact that he thought that would go over well and that would help the situation, that would make it light. It just says a lot about, it's extremely disturbing, and it says a lot about the mindset of some white people.
Yeah. And the seriousness of it. It's not serious.
They may take it as a joke, is what you're saying, huh?
It was clearly a joke to him.
And he expected her to take it as a joke.
Yeah, he expected a giggle or something. And it speaks to the climate.
It may have made her more uncomfortable.
Right.
So you said it's like a climate, you said?
It speaks to the climate of how maybe not only he, but maybe his whole precinct thinks. Or, you know what I mean? It's
like the culture.
It's a snowball effect. Like, he didn't have that conversation for the first time with her. like that's something that was probably on his mind that he spoke about, and he felt comfortable enough to make a joke of it at that point.
So you telling me that
100%.
that's probably not the first time he said
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, it's a random person, right? So he's talking to a random person.
Oh.
When was the last time you said something controversial
To a
to a
random
random
stranger.
person?
And it was a joke.
Unless you said that plenty of
Several
times
times.
to people that you know, and it's gone over well, and you saw this person as a person that's just like my friend.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane, yo.
He got fired though.
He did?
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
Immediately?
He did get fired. They did fire him. But if you think about it,
not suspension.
no, I think he fired.
Terminated.
If I'm not mistaken, he's fired.
Oh, wow.
But
So-
if you think about it though, if you look at it, like even our jobs, like some of us have jobs, and there's certain things, like I work for a bank, so there's certain things that we absolutely do as a bank that we wouldn't want exposed to the public, not because it's unethical or anything, but
Oh, well, tell
it's
us.
just not
Do
happening.
tell, do
But
tell.
it's just like marketing type things, right? You wouldn't necessarily want the
To share
public to
that.
know your marketing,
Right.
Not because you're trying to get over on anybody, but because another company may use your strategy,
Okay.
right?
Or they might be able to spot it out. Like,
or
oh,
spot
this
it
is-
out
yeah.
and make light of it, and now
For sure.
come up with something better.
Yeah.
So if I were to release some information like that, I'd be fired. It's not that it's not true. It's not that everybody doesn't feel that way. It's that I have now released information that hurts the goal of the company.
So what is it saying when you fire somebody for saying the statement, but you acquit people of their charges when they actually follow through with that statement? What is that? What is that saying?
That's a very, very
that's-
profound question.
That's heavy.
Because
That's a
they
very,
had to
very
think about it.
profound question.
I can't say that I have the answer to that. That's
I'll tell you what to say. I got the answer to it.
You got the answer.
I'm gonna tell you, I got a whole.
Well,
Come on, Slim.
firing somebody is different than charging someone with a conviction. And the justice system is heavily built on racism. Whereas just firing somebody, that's easier to do. You're fired. You see the difference? Than sending someone to prison, putting them through trial, and actually criminalizing what they do. Firing him, that's just, oh, you got to go.
yeah.
So
So
that's
you're
the
saying
difference.
that they're just taking the easy way out. That's what
I'm
you're
saying that it's easier to fire somebody than to criminalize an action, because then you will be criminalizing the things that all police officers do, or not all police officers, but police officers that have killed
Had they let
unarmed blacks.
That is a crime.
It is a crime,
had they
but it's not being criminalized. Is what I'm saying.
had they
Right, okay.
left him on the job on payroll with that department, they would have publicly been saying that we support his statement without saying it.
Mm-hmm.
So when a crime happens, they don't have to say that they support it, but they're going to stand behind their shield. And that's the problem, is that a police officer is never going to admit that their police officer is wrong. They're just not going to do it.
You know,
They
I've
protect
actually
their
Not
witnessed
publicly.
that.
Yeah.
We've witnessed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, goodness.
Yeah.
So you said you were watching Undisputed.
Yes.
Well, I was keeping my eye on Fox Sports with Jason Whitlock, who is somebody that everyone is saying is obsessed with Kaepernick. And he posted a picture on Twitter of, I thought it was a dummy at first, but it was actually Christopher Reed, the guy from Kid and Play, dressed up as Kaepernick with an afro and like this really big fist.
Yeah.
And of course,
When they make
Charlemagne gave him Donkey of the Day.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that picture, and what did you think about it?
I was a little confused. I didn't know what he was trying to get at. I have my own opinions about him as a person and how
Do tell.
I think we all have our opinions about Jason.
Yeah.
I'm more
Some
with
of the
LeVar.
stuff he says, man, like I don't know what he stands for. Like sometimes I look at him and I'm like, you got great points, and other times I'm like,
What are you talking
okay, you're on payroll, so maybe you have to be very careful.
For
and maybe,
Fox.
Yeah, like Fox, I feel like
Fox
Fox
is paying you.
jades his views.
about? Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, I love Shannon Sharp for the way he speaks out and he supports like not only blacks but just minorities in general. And even when we're wrong, he calls us out, and I appreciate that. He's from Savannah, Georgia. He's a small town dude. He's come from nothing. But I feel like Whitlock, man, I don't know. I just feel like I don't want to call him any names.
Yeah.
Because that's just not in my. I'm not
Well,
that
you're
way.
a stand-up
You know what I
guy,
mean?
man.
But
You're a stand-up guy.
I just feel like his views are
better
very
than me.
jaded, and I feel like some of the things, like the situation with with Kid, it was like a joke, and like, what is the joke? Like, when I
That's
saw the picture, I'm like,
asking.
what is the joke? Like, he had a
What was funny?
What was funny about it?
What were they trying to? Yeah,
like, what was the end?
I think it's just mocking him. They're just mocking Kaepernick, and that's just like picking on him.
So
at
you
this
think that
point.
was a script that SportsCenter writers, analysts wrote and said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do this."
I think it was a skit that he came up with, and they pulled the plug on it because of the reaction that he got from it. And sometimes I think that some commentators, they get lost in their character. So like his character is to be the, I guess, conservative black guy that doesn't really identify with blackness, and he kind of gets lost in that character. That's what I'm assuming, because his past works have been what we call pro-black. Yeah. But now I just see him turning into this person that kind of separates racism from class when they always intersect. Yeah. So, and he even said so himself when he analyzed the LeBron situation, when someone broke into LeBron's mansion and spray painted the N-word. And he's like, oh, racism doesn't affect you. You're rich. You live in Brentwood. You're rich. And it's like, well, obviously it does. Somebody just broke in here and painted this. Right. So,
and that's a disconnect on his part. Like, he doesn't get it.
Right.
He doesn't get it.
It's either he doesn't want to, or he's trying to turn an eye to it.
I think it's both. It's just like with Jay-Z when it's the story of OJ. It's like, you still a nigga. Don't forget how they still look at you. Right. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. No,
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. He bleeped it out. So, do you experience racism in your field?
Absolutely.
As a DJ in Las Vegas?
I've experienced it. Just in the standpoint of walking into a building and I have to get like a talk from like the GM on what to play because of my skin, they might think I'm gonna play like the hoodest music. Yeah. Not knowing how well versed I am in music and what my background is. But it's happened in other states too, not just Vegas. Yeah. Yeah. Or I'm being told to do certain things that I know they're not telling other DJs to do.
Like what?
You said they're telling you stuff that they're not telling other DJs?
Yeah, for sure. They're telling me not to play too much hip hop. They're telling me not to talk on the mic. They're telling me not to have like women of color in the DJ booth. What? Like just things that you would be like,
you're going to make me come to every DJ set that you have.
With your people.
With an afro.
Yeah.
Okay. You going to come with the fro? You going to come with the fro?
Come with a big afro.
You better come with
some
that
cornrows, some big hoops.
With the
everything
with the two races.
Everything is indirect. Everything's indirect. It's not like
it's like subtle.
Yeah. Like, and I can read the situation very well.
What was the most peculiar event you had?
Probably in DC. I had the owner like pull me in his office, and he was like,
during the set?
No, right before my set.
Okay.
Pretty much. I had to almost check him. I'm like, look, man, like you paid me to be here. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm not gonna like clear out your club. Like, just let me do my job. Yeah. And I feel like he was shocked. He was shocked that I talked to him that way. But it was just like, if I feel a certain way, I'm gonna express my opinion.
How'd you say it? Were you stern,
direct? He was like, look, I know you're from Vegas. I know you have like this kind of background, but you know we do this way here. It's a predominantly white crowd. Can you play to white people? Like, do you know how to play? Do you know how to play what they want to hear? And I was just
asked you that, really?
Yes, and he was dead serious.
What year was this?
This was 2010.
Okay.
I mean, he was so serious, and I almost had to like check myself and realize that he was genuine. Like, he really wasn't trying to be like rude, but he had genuine concerns. Like, he looked at me and like was like, "Can you do this? Like, I don't want to like embarrass my club. Like, can you really?" I'm like, and I looked at him like, "Look, sir, you hired me. I'm gonna make you look good. Don't worry, everything's fine. I know exactly what I'm doing." And at the end of the night, he like had praises for me. Nice. And then it came full circle. And he was like, "Yo, I apologize. I even had to have that talk with you." Like, he owned up, and I respected that. You know, he didn't look the other way and act like he knew all along.
Didn't say right.
Like, he came up and was like, "Yo, like, you welcome back here anytime." And I actually played there a few more times after that. So.
Nice.
You said that you were well versed. Explain to us what that means to be well versed as a DJ.
Well versed meaning going into situations where you can just play any kind of genre of music, any era of music, and do it successfully to where the crowd is going to have fun, and you're not excluding any other races or genres or people, because especially in Vegas, it's a situation where
your source for underground hip hop. It's real music radio. KUNV HD2 Las Vegas.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like for instance, when I play at Bellagio, it's an older crowd, maybe 40, 50-year-olds, and so they're going to hear 80s music. They want to hear their Madonnas and their Bon Jovis, and then at the same time there might be 20, 30-year-olds, so they're going to want to hear their Jay-Z's and their, you know, like even younger than that. Like I've gone through a night where I've touched every single genre of music, from reggae to Latin to hip hop to rock.
Or actually, how about this? What gets the most reaction, do you see?
90s hip hop always works.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think it's just a golden era.
That LL.
It's the golden era. It's the California
Golden
Loves. You know what I mean? It's the Biggies. It's just the classic Jay-Z records. Even the R&B, like the Mary J's. You know, the Drew Hills, the 112s, like all those records.
Oh, that's how you drew.
They all work. Any kind of, and it doesn't matter who. Like I've had the whitest white man ask me for NWA. I've had the most blackest person ask me for, you know, MJ or Prince or Madonna for that matter, or, you know, Cyndi Lauper, and I'm surprised at it. And I'm like, damn, you listen to NWA? That's crazy, but I love it because it just shows diversity, and I feel like music has a way of bringing people together.
Oh, most definitely.
You know, whether you like it or not, or understand it or not, music is so universal in the sense that it has it invokes a feeling inside you.
Well, where does good music come from?
I mean, I think it's timing. Timing. Like if you look at like the eras of music, like every era of music that was great stemmed from something. So like great rock and roll stemmed from protests and coming out of like Vietnam. So you had like Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin and Bono and Sting and like all these groups that were like oppressed. They felt a certain way about war. So they were preaching love in their songs, and they were preaching unity in their songs, and that stemmed a great era. And then you have like coming out of the disco era, where it was all like disco was really based around like getting high and drugs and Studio 54, and then it turned a new leaf into like pop, and it's when you had Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5, you had Prince, you had, you know, all these great artists coming out of that era, and then
or even like hip hop.
Yeah, and hip hop, it was coming out of an era of black people feeling a certain way, out of oppression, out of that's how you develop Public Enemy talking about these issues. You had NWA talking about what was going on in the streets, and they didn't know what they had. They were just making music, speaking for their people, speaking for the streets of Compton, speaking for, you know, you had like UGK and the Ghetto Boys speaking about the streets of Houston. You know what I mean? You had like Two Live Crew, even though it was party music, it was like revolutionary because it was like unifying people together, talking about just partying, forget about whatever we got going on, let's just party, let's have a good time. You know what I mean? And coming out of that, you had great music. When Tupac came out, he was revolutionary, talking about abortions and talking about what was going on in the streets, and he turned into who he was. Yeah. And I think that's where great music tends to come from.
Most definitely, most definitely. And you kind of hinted on like it flowed one into another. Yeah. So like they may have like music feeds off each other.
And music's powerful. Like there's nothing to me, and maybe because I'm immersed in it, that I don't get any kind of like stimulation more so than I get out of like good music. Yeah. Like I could be having a bad day and I could throw on something in my car, in my house that I really enjoy, and it'll make me feel better. It'll make me want to be productive and do something instead of just soaking in because of whatever I'm going through that day and I'm in my feelings.
It'll pick you up.
DJ DMiles.
What made you want to get your start in the art of DJing?
I started in high school because I was bored and
that was when you guys had the real...
Yeah, it was turntables, it was vinyl, it was crates, just crates and crates of vinyl. And so I played sports all my life, so I convinced my school to allow me to do like our like pep rallies. Like if it was a sport I wasn't playing, I would DJ the pep rallies. And then I started doing house parties, and then I turned that into doing college parties. When I was in high school, I would do college parties.
Oh, and then tight.
When I was in college, I was doing that. I was doing like law school events, parties, lounges. I got an internship at a radio station that helped me greatly because it helped me connect with people and build and network. And then I turned that into more radio, and then I moved here, and then from that it became. Oh,
so you weren't always DJing out here?
Yeah, I grew up in Inglewood, California.
Oh, okay.
And I went
from
to high
the
school.
wood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Went to high school out there. Really got my feet wet with DJing there.
Okay.
And
then you just can't end
then
up coming out
I
here?
moved here and connected with a lot of DJs that were from LA. So that helped me because they were like guys I really look up to. And they really, I still am indebted to them to this day because the DJ game is so competitive. They gave me opportunities and they helped me grow and learn and really tighten my craft.
So for the upcoming DJs coming up, what kind of advice would you have for them to make sure to continue to move forward?
I think you got to really enjoy the process. It's a situation where you're going to struggle. Yeah. Like I've had my days where I was just broke, like figuring out what I'm going to do next. That's my what kind of gig I'm going to do next, you know what I mean, to make sure that I'm good. But I look back on it and those are some of the best times because it builds character and it really builds your personality. Like had I not had those times, had I had things come easy to me, I wouldn't appreciate where I am now.
Wait. So did you tell me that you were happy while you're broke? Is that what you just told me?
Very happy.
Oh, yeah?
Very happy.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here from the guy himself. You can be broke and happy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's like anything. Like I always equate things to sports, and it's like you can be great in the game, but you have to prepare to get to that point. Like people don't see the great athletes in practice. They don't see them in the film room, and they don't see them in the weight room studying and making themselves better. But that's what gets you to that point. And so the things that I went through, like struggling, really having to like own my craft, helped me get to the point I am now. Okay. And I'm far from where I want to be, but it's still, it's the road is still being paved. You know what I mean? Like I still have to make moves and do certain things. I practice every day.
Every day.
Yeah. If it's not me on the turntables practicing, it's listening to new music and getting familiar and understanding trends. Understanding why Latin music is big again, understanding why reggae music is big right now, understanding why EDM fell off, understanding why
EDM
90s
has fallen off?
Big time.
You applaud that?
Amen.
Why, you don't like EDM?
No, I'm cool on it.
Why not? What's wrong with EDM?
I'm just not a fan.
Does it make you drink too much?
No, it probably does make me drink too much.
Because
I'm like, this is not fun. Give me a shot. So probably.
So is it true that the beats per second kind of correlates to how many drinks you buy?
I mean, I feel like with EDM it does.
Yeah? It makes you want to, that's what they say.
Because you're so bored.
Because you're so bored. We hate it.
Give me a shot.
Faded.
Music does, and there's studies on it, music stimulates emotion. So that kind of music stimulates the emotion to want to feel like you're on a higher level, which means it could mean alcohol, it could mean other recreational drugs. It could be, and then you look at like Latin music. It evokes love. It evokes happiness. It evokes togetherness. That's why people are real sexy with the way they dance. Reggae too. It evokes sexiness. And
what does hip hop evoke?
I think hip hop is such a huge genre that it gives you different emotions, and I think that in the early 2000s, like when 50 was big. When Ja Rule and then we're having that beef, sometimes it can evoke a negative emotion inside you to like create violence.
50 gave you negative emotions?
Not just him, but
not 21 Questions.
It was 21 Questions. It was a great love record. That's still one of my favorite records to this day.
And in Ja Rule, what is it called?
Put It On Me.
Put It On Me. Lit.
Every little thing we do. But then you had like What Up Gangsta and like Poor Little Rich, and then you had like Lil Jon and East Side Boys, and you had like all these different. You had like what's my man's name on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, Lil Scrappy. You had like those kind of records that were hardcore like gangster records,
but now they're like mainstream songs.
And I think it's just a sign of the times. So when it was coming out, it just wasn't accepted. Like clubs were afraid of it, and it just made the climate of like music really, really dark. And so that's what happened in Vegas is people didn't want to play hip hop for the longest. They were afraid of it.
What do you mean it made the climate really dark?
Because they saw the crowd that came along with the music, and they were afraid of that. They didn't want to say we don't want black people, but they
always use that phrase, dark.
Twix?
No, they say that. They say it was getting dark in here.
Yeah, it's getting dark in here. Let you know there's too many black people.
What do you have to say for DJs that are coming up and they say they want to be a hip hop DJ? Because I hear people try to talk people out of being hip hop DJs all the time.
Yeah.
They're like, you don't want to box yourself in.
Yeah.
But we also just seen that hip hop is the #1 music of the nation now.
It is. I think there was a time where maybe a lot of DJs felt that way. And I've even seen DJs that were hip hop DJs veer away from it and do other genres and stick to those. And now that hip hop's big again, it's like they're lost. You know what I mean? But I mean, I've seen hip hop DJs be consistent and consistently getting money. Like I look at like DJ Drama and K Slay and, you know, DJ Enough, dudes I respect. Even you look at Khaled, he's been doing hip hop since day one when he was messing with Ace Hood and Trick Daddy, and bringing those guys out. You know, Trina, he was messing with him since day one, and it's paid off for him now. Now he's mainstream. You know, DJ Drama is mainstream. He's still hip hop, but I mean, his mixtapes, he has syndicated radio shows. Like he's a millionaire because of hip hop. They never veered away. They never veered away.
91.5 KUNV Las Vegas, The Rebel, HD2.
So let me ask you this. We're all curious about, you know, your DJ ventures and everything. Could you describe your biggest failure?
Biggest failure? Haven't had too many, but...
we got bosses in the building.
Cocky.
Biggest failure... I feel like the only failure you can have when you're a DJ is not really trusting yourself and trusting your ability. It's like you can't miss the shots you don't take. You know what I mean? And I had a period where I was second guessing myself
and wouldn't shoot.
Yeah.
And you're saying this is while you're DJing. You're not taking risk as a DJ playing songs.
Because you have to constantly reinvent and constantly. Like I get nervous with even playing the same song twice. Like if I play like one song and play that same song with another song, mixing it, I don't like that. Like
hold on now. We could think twice over here. It's okay. Yeah, you can think twice.
I got that.
Okay.
but
playing the song twice, okay. That's you know, you can think twice.
Yeah. But I think it's human nature to second guess yourself. It's human nature to constantly critique yourself, and sometimes I lost my way. Confidence wise, but you just have to really when you're prepared, it's almost like it doesn't matter. Like I could do some of this stuff blindfolded now.
So Slim kind of gave me a thought-provoking thought, and I had to think about it a couple times before I could really answer it. So I'd actually like to ask you first, Oak.
Okay.
And then we can go to DMiles. What's a man without confidence?
A man without confidence?
Yeah.
Nothing that I can say on the show right now. No, I'm just I'm joking.
He's about to go ahead.
A man without confidence? I don't know. Why you want to get me to say something ratchet? That's why you asked me that first.
I'm just asking. Because you like to bash on men.
Somebody that's not confident. Bash on men. I do not do that. If anything, I have y'all back more than y'all do.
You have our back.
Yeah, more than y'all do. But
I'm not gonna have my own back.
I don't know. A man without confidence?
Yeah.
Is a male.
Is a male.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna say.
That's it.
He's a male.
Male. Okay. What's a man without confidence?
A man without confidence is something that it's evident. You can see it it's like the spirit. The spirit is has been belittled. It's gotten weak.
Yeah.
And it comes out. Like I can talk to someone.
And you could tell?
And I could tell. Like if I'm talking to a DJ that feels like they don't have confidence, I can hear it in the way they play.
Oh.
I can hear it in the way they talk.
You can hear it in the way they play.
Yeah, I can hear it in the way they play.
What does it sound like?
It sounds unsure. It sounds like I don't know what I want to play next. I don't know what these people want.
Is it like 20-second songs, 10-second songs?
No, it's like you're searching for something, but you're not gonna find it because it starts with you. Everything starts with us inside, and like my energy is going to convey to the dance floor. It's like a comedian. Like a comedian could have great jokes, but if he doesn't have correct timing and know how to like get the audience engaged, it's not going to work.
Okay.
And that's what good comedians do is they get the audience involved. They know how to have great timing. Like two comedians can say the same joke, but maybe only one of them will get them to laugh, and it has something to do with who you are and your confidence. And that's, to me, speaks well of what you're saying. Like a man with confidence is going to get that across. The man without confidence that's unsure about the joke, that like, I hope they laugh, it's not gonna work. It's like if I'm trying to talk to a pretty girl, I could go to a girl and like have all the confidence in the world, and maybe she still won't talk to me, but I'm gonna move on.
Yeah.
But a guy without confidence, he's gonna feel sorry for himself and maybe shell up. And
let it linger.
And let it linger, and it's gonna go into the situation we talked to another girl, and she's gonna see that unconfident man and pick up on it right away.
Most
And
definitely.
that's probably the best I could describe it.
Slim told me like this. Well, he asked me. He said,
Who is that? No,
so
that's
who's
fine.
Slim? Oh, we got the brains behind the operation right here. We got Slim.
Who that is?
Yeah, the producer. But the producer, he ended up telling me. He said he didn't even give me an answer. He said, "What is a man without confidence?" And like, have you ever got
Boy,
that?
he ain't say it like that.
Yes, he
Replay.
did. He didn't give me. But like, how do you like give the answer but don't even give the answer? Like, that's like one of those things you just be like, it smacks you in the face. Like, you're not a man if you don't have confidence. A man without confidence isn't a man. You're a boy.
I would hate to be the person to say that, even though I low key said that. I don't like to challenge people's manhood.
I gave you the shot.
But yeah.
I gave you the shot, but you didn't want to take it.
Sometimes a man without confidence can be a lot of things, though. They can be.
A boy.
This was just gonna sound bad. Never mind.
Go ahead,
continue.
No,
I was gonna say he can be soft, scared.
Soft, scared.
Yeah, he's like
Boy
childlike
qualities.
at that point, at that moment, maybe. Because I'm not gonna say somebody that doesn't have confidence is always lacking confidence every day, 24 hours.
Is there a difference?
But in moments, maybe they are.
Is there a difference? I'm sorry to cut you
Go
off,
ahead.
sweetheart. Is there a difference between having fear and confidence? Because that's where I kind of like
having fear inside of confidence.
No, having fears and not having confidence, are those one and the same, or is it?
Oh yes, no, they're different, totally different.
I think not having confidence stems from fear. So
yeah, you can talk to her about fear. She knows all of that. She'll tell you what you're scared of, who did it to you, and how to get it back.
It's silly.
Without you even telling you what you did.
I think sometimes fear is healthy.
Healthy?
Yeah.
It is.
Elaborate.
Oh yes, please.
Tell us.
Fear can drive you to
Yes.
be better.
Yeah.
Like fear of not having something, or fear of failure, or
back the dog into a corner. That fear going to show you what's going on.
But confidence, we see it all the time. We see it in sports. Like a guy that could have all the physical tools in the world just doesn't live up to their potential, and it stems from confidence. Right?
Because they plateaued.
You look at like someone like RG3. He's an amazing athlete, but for whatever reason, he lost his confidence.
I think that's what it was. Maybe.
Yeah.
I like that guy too.
Me too. I thought he was phenomenal, but something went wrong, and I don't know if it was just the injuries or the confidence or both, but I feel like the injuries started the confidence levels to go down. He wasn't playing at the same level, and a man without confidence is, it's not good. That was a good.
It's not good.
Nah.
That was a good question.
So,
that was pretty good.
Speaking about emotions, man, and when you have this trait, you got to have complete control of your emotions. And this trait is called chivalry. And for those that aren't aware of what chivalry is, it's basically a code of ethics that was started in the medieval times. You've heard about chivalry, correct? Well,
I think we all. I hope so.
Well, you're not from Earth. You're a different.
I'm
kind
not.
Of, no, no, you're not.
Let me find out.
I know.
Okay.
Black girl, man, you're an alien. But that's a good thing, though. We appreciate aliens.
Okay, well, let me give you an alien answer. Continue.
Alien answer. So, can you what's your definition of chivalry, or how do you perceive it?
You said it's a code of ethics.
Yeah. So what kind of ethics is in that code?
It's basically how you treat women, right? It's how men should treat women.
Anything else?
That's it.
That's it. That's the
elementary answer.
Your 5-year-old friends, they
I know.
appreciate you.
They told me.
Man, I'm glad you shout them out every week.
Give us a definition of chivalry.
Oh, okay. So, there was not an authentic code of chivalry as such, but the code of chivalry was more. What did I say?
How you mess up more on the correct?
The code of chivalry. Is that okay? Like, goodness, I told y'all about my speech impediment.
Chivalry. Okay, come on.
Was a moral system which went beyond the rules of combat and introduced the concept of chivalrous conduct, qualities idealized by a medieval knight such as bravery, courtesy, honor, and great gallantry toward women.
Okay.
Gallantry.
I had to look that up too.
Yeah.
Can you help us out, Slim? Believe you me,
I
forgot.
Get that one out.
Okay, so medieval knights made up these moral codes on how to treat women.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what that was about.
So
we're trying to what is the word?
Swindle.
I wasn't gonna say that. I was gonna say more like swoon.
Spoon.
Like to court a woman?
Basically courting women. I'm sure they have
Knights do not spoon.
I didn't say spoon. I'm sure they have to learn that because they're amongst men all the time. So it's like somebody has to teach us how to, scale back a little bit and treat women differently than how we treat each other.
I really wasn't taught how to treat women.
Okay.
So you gotta excuse me for my negligence.
Mm-hmm.
But when in the chivalrous times, when they had duels, what they do? They slapped you, smack with the gauntlet, and now you got to fight to the death, right?
Is that what they did?
You didn't know?
No, I didn't. But
oh
okay.
Yeah, this is a heavy gauntlet, all steel, and if you disrespected my lady, I take off my gauntlet and I grab it right by the wrist and I slap you until until you know you disrespected.
And then y'all fight
to the death.
Okay.
So, with that being said, people don't really fight over domestic relationships to the death anymore, but they do fight until something dies within them. Who usually fights until that dies? Would it be men fighting each other until something dies in them, or would it be women fighting each other until something dies in them?
Is this about chivalry?
Yes. This is most definitely about chivalry.
I think it's a two.
Yeah, you think it's something else, huh?
I don't
it's
know.
A double-edged sword.
Oh yeah.
My own personal experience, I grew up around all women, so I was taught values on how to treat women.
91.5 KUNV Las Vegas, The Rebel HD2.
I feel like you go through things that a part of you starts to fall off, as part of you dies as you go through those experiences.
But okay, so let's say two women fight, their friendship usually dies, the trust dies.
Mm-hmm.
So would that be the same opposed to men? Like if two men were to fight, what kind of things would die? Most times actually what dies is the issue. The issue dies when men fight.
True.
When most
but
times.
But then if it was a friend, trust could die as well, because it might have been someone that you really had a friendship with, a trust with, or a brotherhood with. So your loyalty can die.
Is there love without trust?
No.
No love without trust?
No.
So what is it?
It's situational.
Situational?
I don't know. I have a cousin that I love, but I don't trust her.
Oh yeah? And what do y'all do together?
Nothing.
There we go.
Nothing at all. Girl, you stay over there later.
So let's talk about trust, right? So if trust, like if you mistrust somebody, isn't that trust too? Like, isn't it trust? Like, I trust that
It's just
you
a trust
will
level.
definitely mess me over. Like, I trust that you will. If I
have
give you this
confidence.
money, I
Well
trust
said.
that you will not pay it
That's
back.
well said. Like
True.
I think in
my
those.
life.
So
I think in those scenarios, you can love a person, and we consider it mistrust because we know that the trust that we would like to give them, that they will mishandle it.
Yeah.
But we trust that they'll do it, and I think in those scenarios, you can actually love the person because you know how to protect yourself from them. It's the people that you have that neutral.
You can't
trust.
gauge that trust
Exactly
with them
You
that
really
you
don't have
probably don't
anything.
love.
That's well said.
Okay.
Because I have people in my life that are like, I love you, but from a distance.
from a distance, back up.
I know exactly who you are. You're not going to change, and I accept you for who you are.
You believe people can't change, or you believe this situation they won't change?
I think it's the situation.
Okay.
I think we have the ability to, but we have to want it.
Right.
And we have to go through something that's going to make us want it. If not, we're going to stay the same. And it's like, usually people change when they're going to lose something something.
I'll tell you when people change, when they feel loved. You make somebody feel loved, they're more susceptible to change for you. So if somebody doesn't change, let them know that you love them. Show them that you love them in a manner that they can appreciate and accept it and understand that you're trying to show love. And then I guarantee you're probably going to be able to get a little bit more out of that person that you thought, that you trusted, that you didn't have intentions of with you, if that makes sense.
That's a great point.
Well, y'all kind of said
I
the
like
same
that.
thing. If you love somebody, they don't want to lose that love, and so they change. So it's kind of like a dynamic that works together. What y'all was saying.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Miss Outside looking in. Go ahead and
Oh
hit us
my
with
gosh.
the win.
You're so silly.
Yeah.
Silly.
So
That was good.
DJ D-Miles, we got a couple more questions for you today, man. But, we
Let's
really
do it.
didn't get a chance to ask about you and how you felt about some things. So we want to take a dive into your world.
Okay.
And let's say this was your world, and you got to make 2 rules that everybody had to follow. What would they be?
2 rules. Let me take a moment. Because
Okay.
that's good.
Everybody got to follow.
He's gonna get serious.
It's about to get real.
I would honestly, if it were ever possible, the first thing I would do was get rid of any kind of racial inequalities.
Yeah.
Because the world would be totally different with a level playing field.
Like how?
It's
The best people would show up, or what?
it would be a situation where I'll equate it to if you and I were on a foot race, 100-yard dash, but you had a 40-yard head start. The chances of me catching you are slim to none. And even if I were to get to your exact point, I have to expend so much energy to get there that I may not have enough gas to make it to the finish line as fast as you.
Yeah.
And that's the world of a minority. Like, we don't have a level playing field. We're so far behind in the game that we're playing catch up.
You gotta hear Slim in the way he tells that stuff.
Yeah.
Man, this guy.
I would love to hear it.
No. I think that's accurate, right?
It's
That's
very accurate.
that the way you explained it is exactly how it is for minorities.
Yeah.
Like for Mexicans and Chinese people and other people, like, you know what I'm saying, like Pacific Islanders that come over.
Yeah.
For black people though, it's like that same analogy, except they got the 40-year head start, or 40-yard head start, just by us pushing them. Like, they didn't have to run. They pushed, and then we had to run all the way back to the headline, and then they started from that point, and then we started running, and then they came back, tripped us. We started running. They got back into their spot, got pushed for some Mexicans this time, and then they could keep going, and we still at the
it's
first
we
part.
can sit here and say the same about the Native Americans. You know
Yes.
what I mean? Like, they taught them how to harvest and to, like, everything. Like, they showed them the ropes. Okay, cool, we don't need you. Boom. Sidelined them.
That's
Put them on reservations. You know what I mean? It's like how is that even ethical or legal? Like, what kind of human, if you have a human emotion, how do you do that? But just to answer the question, that would be the first thing on my list is equality, because that just changes everything. It brings out the best in you when you feel like you're on a level playing field. I think that's why we're obsessed with athletics, because the game starts 0-0. And it's like you have the best athletes in the world competing against each other. That's why the Olympics are so big. It's such a like spectacle, because we're on the starting line together, representing our country or whatever, and whoever wins, like you you have a sense of like, even if we don't believe in our country's ethics and morals, we watch the Olympics and we have a sense of pride. And so level playing fields provide that.
What's number 2?
Number 2,
whole world gotta follow.
This is member-supported KUNV HD2 Las Vegas, the broadcast service of UNLV.
You have to have at least one day a week where you do something that you absolutely love.
That's dope.
That's what I feel.
That's
like,
dope.
I feel like not enough people do what they love for a living, and that's okay because we all have priorities. We have bills. So we all can't do what we love at the moment, but we can strive to.
It's not okay. It sucks.
I don't think that's okay.
It sucks.
I don't think
it sucks,
okay.
But it's
sacrifice. It's sacrifice.
It is the reality.
That's necessary, for a lot of things. Yeah, I don't.
Do they get paid for doing what they love?
I would love to say yes.
It's your rule.
Yeah.
They get paid what, $100 an hour?
That would be that would be like a payroll for that.
If the world was a utopia, everyone would be doing what they love, and actually, that's kind of what we're trying to push towards. Utopia. So I really appreciate that one.
Yeah.
For real. So let me ask you this: what are you most afraid of, and what's stopping you from doing it?
Most afraid of?
Do you have any fears?
Nah.
I'll let Oak ask you because she probably pull it out, the fears out right away.
You don't have any fears?
I don't think so. I'll take that back.
I bet you.
I was gonna say, do you fear going to jail?
I fear
that.
I fear letting my family down.
Yeah.
Like my mom, the people that care about me, that have always supported me. Like everything I do, a part of it is to. I want them to have a sense of pride when they speak of me.
Okay, nice.
And I don't ever want to lose that. I want them to always be. I always want my mom to be proud of her son. And my grandparents and my aunts, my younger cousins that look up to me, I always want them to have something positive to say about me. So everything I do, I have that in the back of my head. Like I gotta please myself first, and then the people that love me and support me and that have had my back. I gotta make sure that I'm like honoring and I'm giving them who they think I am, not a fraud. Like this is really who I am. Like that's fear.
Yourself.
Yeah, like that's a great fear. Not too many other things scare me.
No?
Like, nah.
That's dope.
I really don't care for snakes.
Don't care for snakes.
You know what I mean?
Snakes.
But I can handle like rodents and insects, but snakes is just like, man, I don't know. They just creep me out.
Yeah.
They move different, man.
You ever had one in your hand before?
I have. Yeah. I have.
I know they have a smell too.
I've had one on my hand,
Snake
like on my
smell.
shoulders. Like I've like messed with them. Like I don't know.
Not a snake person.
Nah, not a snake person, man.
Okay.
That ain't my thing.
Okay. Yeah.
So what would be like the climax of your career if you had to like choose something specific?
I don't know if I have a climax, but I'm just gonna keep climbing. So for me, like I definitely want to dabble more into production. At some point, I would like to, composing. I would like to manage other DJs and mentor, and bring along like other talented DJs and artists that in the way that I've been helped. Like I always want to give back, so that's something I would love to do. I would enjoy having my own venue at some point, because I only want to do this for another 10, 15 years.
And then on to what?
Family life, maybe have a kid and
you
a wife.
Retire at 50.
Well, no, not retire from music, but just from DJing. Like I can't do
live
it at
sets.
this level. Like I can't travel 3-4 times a month and do this 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And if I ever plan on having a family, something's gonna take a L, and it's gonna have to be that. Like I can't be traveling, leaving my kids and my wife or whatever. Like it has to be some kind of balance. But I still will always be involved in music. Like I look at Quincy Jones, and guys like that have been doing this since their teens, and I think he's in his like 70s. And he mentors. He like brought up so many other producers. He brought up Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and Jimmy Iovine and what he's done, and brought up other guys. Like it's always about giving back, and that's how you keep your legacy. And I think that's what I want to do.
Legacy. We like that word around here.
Yeah.
Leaving legacy. Because they say leaving a legacy is like planting seeds in a garden that you'll never see.
It's true.
So make sure to keep planting.
That's true.
And plant those seeds of prosperity and growth, man. And make sure you use the water, fertilize it, not with the BS, but the real S,
And it's true. I mean, you look at like the greats of any industry, they have a legacy. Like whether they're still around to see it or not, their name always carries. Mm-hmm. The people that I respect that are alive, their name still resonates. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's in any industry, in any business, you have the people that have showed you a path. You either follow it or you make your own, and in the process, you affect other people, and that's how you continue that legacy. And like you said, it's like a seed; it continues to grow.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So where can we find you at, D? Like social
media is DJ DMiles, DJDMiles on every social media platform: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat.
Okay.
SoundCloud, Mixcloud. My website is djdmiles.com. My schedule's on there wherever I'm playing, whether it be club, event, radio. It's all on there.
Oh, okay.
Everything's on there.
Right.
And that's the easiest way to get a hold of me. I'm really interactive, so if people hit me up and asking about music or want to know where I'm playing or how can they do certain things musically or how can they get started in DJing, I'm always open because you never know who you're going to affect. The one kid that hits me up, it might spark a career for him.
Yeah.
So I'm always open. I don't ever not respond to people.
That's love, man. That's love.
Yeah.
For real. We appreciate that. So, you got any like projects coming up? Anything? You got any people you want to shout out?
Actually, I do. I have a couple of close friends that have businesses and things that I'm actually involved in. One is called Beats and Sneaks, which is a sneaker show I'm a part of.
That's going to be sneaker show?
Yeah, it's kind of like SneakerCon, but we're going to incorporate sneakers. We're going to have vendors that come trade, buy, sell their sneakers. We're going to have acts as well, so I'm in the process of getting the act, but it will be November 17th.
Okay, nice.
At Sam's Town.
November 17th?
Yes.
Mark your calendars.
Yeah, so beatsandsneaks.com is the website. I have a bunch of different companies involved, sponsors, one of which is New, which is a clothing boutique here on Spring Mountain and Valley View.
Okay.
Good friend of mine, his name is DJ Crooked. He's from New York, but it's his company. If you haven't checked it out, if you haven't checked it out, please do. It's amazing.
What's the name of his apparel?
No.
It's New, which it's an acronym for.
New.
It's an acronym for
KYNEW.
Yep.
Yeah.
Keep New York everywhere.
Oh, okay.
So he's an amazing DJ. And that's how we met 10 years ago, and he opened the store in 2008. And I've just watched the growth, and it's a beautiful thing, man. He's doing amazing things with Cut and Sew, and if you get a chance, go check it out. He's a great dude, great store. Him and his girlfriend run it, but they're a part of it, and I have a couple other sponsors. I won't give them out, but just wanted to shout out Crooked and New because they're good people, really good people.
Dope.
Yeah.
So make sure you go to that event. What's the event?
Beats and Sneaks.
Beats and Sneaks.
Yeah.
We got November 17th. Make sure to check it out.
And I'll make sure and follow up with you guys with all the details and send them your way.
Love. So you got any final thoughts today?
I just really appreciate you guys having me. I mean, this is amazing. This is an amazing platform, and we touched on some really good topics that I otherwise don't speak about other than my inner circle. So this was amazing, and I thank you guys for that. I love what you guys are doing, and thank you for having me.
Love. You got any gems? Actually, you dropped a bunch of gems today, but so it ain't nothing for me to ask for another one. You got another one for the people, man? You got something to let the people know that they could take home with?
I just feel like hard work, man. Nothing comes easy, and I've learned that through experience. Like, I'm 35 years old, and I've been grinding at this since I was like 17.
Yeah.
So everything that I'm experiencing now are just fruits of the labor. And some people make it early, some people it takes time. Like there's no method or rhyme or reason to making it. Like you can make it early and then understand that I didn't put in the work. Maybe I just got lucky. And sometimes you have to go back to the drawing board and reinvent yourself. Yeah. And it's clear. Look at Samuel Jackson. He didn't make it as an actor till his 40s. Mm-hmm. Now he's in his 70s. He's killing it.
He's 70?
I think he's like pushing 70. Yeah.
Well, you know he's in the most movies of all time.
That's what I'm saying.
Ever.
And I think the first movie I ever saw him in was might have been like School Days or Do the Right Thing, like in the early 90s. Or maybe it was
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
Mine was Pulp Fiction first time I seen it.
Well, he was in also the mafia film. Man, I can't think. It wasn't Casino.
Somebody tell us in the comments.
Yeah,
yeah.
With Ray Liotta, but he was in that, and just he's grinding, man, and he's. People always want to say that certain things are like a young man's game. That's true, like hip hop is. But you look at other genres. Look at rock. You still got like Kiss and Gene Simmons touring at 60.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like there's no reason that hip hop artists can't do that. There's no reason that DJs can't do that. Age is a limit we put on ourselves.
I like that you said that about hip hop artists because they get it. They get it. The ageism is tough with hip hop.
Yeah.
Like, age is a limit.
It's a young man's game as far as creativity, but you still got Jay-Z putting out #1 albums and he's 48. You know what I mean? You still got Nas killing it. You still got Mos Def and Talib and, Wu-Tang is bigger than they were now, than they were in the 90s probably touring. And, that's what I'm saying, man. Age is nothing. Like, we can do this. Right. We can always do this, I take that advice. I'm pretty much talking to myself right now.
No, you're talking to the people, let them know, and we appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you.
These are things that you tell yourself. Though.
All day. I'm in the shower preaching to myself in the morning, So I really appreciate the platform, you guys. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Oki, any final thoughts today?
Yeah, it's kind of piggybacking off what he said about being true to yourself. I feel like a lot of times when people see us doing certain things, whether it's DJing or filmmaking or doing radio, people try to steer us in the direction they want to see us go in. And I think it's important to stick to what you want to do and really know what you want to do, and don't let anyone detour you from what you really feel passionate about.
Well said.
I
agree.
We're gonna have
and that's confidence.
That.
I got that.
Yeah. Slim, you got any final thoughts today?
Confidence.
Make sure to have it. Get some. Yeah. For sure. My final thought today is there's only 2 things in life that we can never get back. That's time and our words. So a lot of times we like to joke and everything, but understand that the words that we use are here to enlighten, educate, motivate, and like I said, if you end up getting your laugh too, just know you got your cake and you ate it too. So what I need for y'all to do is go ahead and go out to OverTheTopLv.com. Check us out right now. Because if you're looking for the stars behind the bright lights of Las Vegas, you don't got to look no further. We got the painters, poets, the artists. Matter of fact, anybody you're looking for doing anything positive in the community, we like to highlight them, show them that they're just a level above the rest. Because it's just different. What you got to do as well, artists, musicians, send over your files, your music. I'm waiting for you. The phones, the email lines, we waiting. You got to send it over shenanigans on the radio at gmail.com. You send that in a wave format file, and we're going to start running it over 91.5. And I do need you to edit it because we are regulated by the FCC, and they are not going to come after me. You dig what I'm talking about? And remember, if everybody in the world thought twice, it'll be a better place. Love, baby.